Good evening. Welcome to the presentation on using PSPP for the chi-square test of independence. Presented by Deborah L. King, doctoral student at the California Intercontinental University. The agenda for this lecture is pretty straightforward and is as follows. Define and use Cramer's V-value. State the hypothesis for the chi-square of independence. Rejection rule, supporting details. Examine PSPP outlets. Perform chi-square test of independence using PSPP. Visit results from the imported data, then takeaways and questions. Statistics, Cramer's V, is a measure of association between two nominal variables, given a value between 0 and a positive 1. This is based on Pearson's chi-squared statistics. Notice the strength of association with Cramer's V. 0.00 interpret there is no relations. 0.15 interprets is a very weak relations, but there is no relationship to consider. At the bottom of the graph, where the association V is considered to be 1.00, is perfectly symmetric, and this situation is extremely rare. Through the PSPP testing, the chi-square of independence can be performed as follows: analysis, descriptive statistics, and crosstab. The hypotheses are stated like this. The null, there's no relations between categorical variable and the second categorical variable. The alternative, there is relationship between the first categorical variable and the second. The rejection rule is always as follows. We reject the null hypothesis when P is less than alpha, and alpha is equal to 0.05. But in the chi-square, there is a special rule. If the P is greater than alpha, we fail to reject the null, then we follow Cramer's V. Now, all this statistical talk is just an academic way of asking, is there a relationship between two variables? If so, how strong is it? The chi-square test of independence will tell us whether there is a relationship. Cramer's V will tell us how strong that relationship is and if there is a relationship to measure. The data set, numCars, and light comfort will be evaluated for a relationship. From the survey data, the number of cars is the number of cars per month. The Likert comfort is the Likert comfort scale that indicates how comfortable a person is with their financial standing. So what will we do in the chi-square test of independence? And we're going to see if the comfort level is related to the number of car payments per month. With case number 1, the first relationship is the number of cars and the number of defaults. Therefore, the null indicates there's no relationship between the number of cars and the number of defaults. The alternative indicates there is a relationship between number of cars and number of defaults. The chi-square, indicated by x2, and the 9 indicates the degree of freedom. The n, the value of n, is the total number of cases, which is 150. The chi-square value is at 9.70. The p is equal to 0.375, and the Cramer V value is at 0.15. We can say there is a very weak relationship between the number of cars and the number of defaults, and there is no relationship to be considered. Case number 2, the second relationship between Likert comfort and the number of defaults. In the null hypothesis, there is no relationship between Likert comfort level and the number of defaults. The alternative hypothesis states that there is a relationship between Likert comfort level and the number of defaults. Why? Let's see. The 9 again is the degree of freedom. The N value in this case is still 150 cases. The chi-square value is 9.70. The p-value is equal to 3.75, and the Kramer's v-value is 0.15. Again, we could say that there is a very weak relationship between the Likert comfort level and the number of defaults. Case number 3 is the third relationship, the number of car payments and Likert's comfort. The null hypothesis states there is no relationship between the number of car payments and Likert's comfort level. The alternative hypothesis says there is a relationship between the number of car payments and Likert's comfort level. Again, we have chi-square. We have a 9, which is the degree of freedom. The N value is the total number of cases, which is 150. The chi-square value is now 450.00. The p-value is equal to 0.00, and the Kramer's v is at 1.00. In this case, we could say that there is perfectly symmetrical relationship between the number of cars and Likert's level. Main takeaways. Some of the main takeaways that we observed was PSPP can perform the chi-square test of independence. Secondly, we can perform a test using analysis, descriptive statistics, crosstabs. Another takeaway is the chi-square test of independence is used to determine if there is a significant relationship between two nominal variables. And the last takeaway, it is important to obtain Kramer's v. This concludes conducting a chi-square test of independence. I'd like to thank you for viewing this presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact Deborah L. King, doctoral student at California Intercontinental University. Have a great night.